welcome back to Concilium Watch. This is Nathan, and today I'm back with a video about conversions. Now, I really like using the Helot Militia in the Pan-Oceania faction, and the profile that I really like to take is that SMG plus light rocket launcher profile. Now, in the Helot box that we do have, there is one model that has an SMG, but all the others are carrying weapons that I don't use that much. Now, if I wanted 3 of this specific profile in model form, I could go out and buy 3 boxes of Helots, or I could even just proxy with the ones I have. But sometimes it's more fun, in my opinion, to be creative and create some conversions using the models that we already have and changing them a bit, either giving them new arms, new poses, or new weapons, and creating the profiles that we really want to play. Converting Infinity miniatures is actually the easiest it's ever been right now, thanks to the amazing STL files from the Monstrous Makings Patreon. That guy is amazing, and he's done a lot of work to 3D model almost every Infinity weapon that you could possibly need. Even like some deployable weapons and some sidearms that you would never even expect to see on a model. He's got all of them, and anyone that he doesn't have, he's still working on. In fact, I'm going to be using some of the STLs he created, specifically the SMG and the light rocket launcher from Pan-Oceania, in these conversions today. I'll have a link to his Patreon in the description below. He's a really amazing guy, and I've been a patron ever since he started doing this thing. I really appreciate everything he's done for the community. I'll also include a list of the different tools that I used in this video in the description as well. For this first conversion, we're going to be taking one of these SMGs and attaching it to the arm of the Shock Marksman Helot. This should be pretty straightforward because we can actually utilize the stock of the original weapon in our conversion. For small cuts or areas where you don't really care about the finish, you can use just your standard nippers that you would use for clearing flash on your models normally. If you want to make larger, more precise cuts, I really recommend using a jeweler's saw. These are really useful for getting a very straight line when you're doing your cuts, and also are useful for getting into tight places where the nippers might not be able to get in. As you can see, we've finished that cut. Nice and straight, and the next step is we're going to cut back towards the stock of the weapon. That stock is going to be one of our anchoring points for this conversion. Once we finish cutting that section away, we can get started with the 3D printed weapon itself. We'll need to cut off the stock and the handle and trigger of this weapon. When cutting resin 3D printed items, I tend to focus on using nippers first and then go back with a very sharp X-Acto knife to clean up the edges. And once you glue them together with your favorite brand of super glue, we have our finished conversion. Let's go ahead and get started on that next one. This next one's going to be a bit more difficult because it's got 2 points of contact. The first step is going to be to remove as much of the front and a bit of the top of the weapon right around that hand so that we can free up the area for clearing out more later. I tried a new tactic with this conversion where I decided to use a pin vise and hand drill out a part right above the palm of the hand, and then use my X-Acto knife to come in and carve it into a bit of a half pipe. And the result actually turned out really well. As you can see here, the hand is basically completely hollowed out as if there was never a weapon there before. And all we have to do is remove it from the gun. I know I'm talking a little bit too much about this hand, but I'm so proud of how well it turned out that I can't stop messing with it. Very similar to that first conversion we did, we're going to go ahead and remove everything up until the stock of the weapon. We are going to end up removing the stock, but I like to do things in sections just to make sure that I'm getting really precise cuts the whole way. Once we've completely finished the arm and hand, we can go ahead and start preparing the weapon itself. Once again, we're going to cut off the handle and also carve out a bit of the foregrip of the light rocket launcher so that our hand can actually grip it. When carving into resin items like this, I like to use a very sharp X-Acto knife and then carve very slowly, layer by layer, until you get the desired shape you want. And one thing you'll really quickly figure out is that it's okay to cheat on stuff like this. You'll see that these are not very clean cuts, but it's because it's going to be covered up by the hand. So, speaking of the hand, here it is connected to the weapon itself, and I'm once again really proud of how this turned out. Before we put everything together, there is one part of the conversion process that I would like to highlight. You'll see I added the arm to the main body here, but we kind of damaged the area that's visible when we made that cut to remove the stock earlier. So, in comes the green stuff. Green stuff is, I think, a 2-part hardening putty sculpting material. I don't know. It comes in yellow and blue, and you mix it together to make green. If you use more of the blue, I believe it's more of like a solid, hard finish. And if you use more of the yellow, then it's more of like a softer, like malleable material. I usually try to do just 50-50. Once you put the green stuff on the model, I use silicone sculpting tools. The silicone is really nice because it helps you create a really smooth finish, and I just try to rub it along the model and push it down into the crack that I created earlier. I realized I didn't really show the gluing process of our first conversion, so I figured I'd show it here. I just use Loctite Ultra Gel Control super glue, and it works great for me. The gel part is really important, I think, because it gives you a little bit more time to get your part into the place that you really want before it finally hardens. And there you have it. We've got our light rocket launcher helmet ready to ruin people's days on the battlefield. I'm really proud of how these two turned out, and I hope that this video was helpful for at least some of you who might be new to the game and are nervous about trying out these conversions. I tried to showcase a pretty easy swap and then show that the harder ones are still possible. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to our channel. And let me know in the comments if you think that you'll try out a conversion because of this video. That'd be really great. Thanks for watching.